special call Joint Public Safety Committee meeting today. Today is May 14th. The current time is 1:10. 1:10. Our first item of business is to review and approve the minutes of the previous meeting. If there are no additions or corrections to the minutes, we will entertain a motion to approve as written.
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
First item, Detective Langford, can you call the first item for me, please? Fikes, I'm sorry.
B. Smalls, 2308 Second Avenue North, Birmingham, Alabama, 35203. Mr. Tom Saab.
Is the applicant here? Come to the podium, sir, and state your name and address for the record.
I'm sorry, name, Tom Saab,
Name, address for the record.
2308 Second Avenue North, Birmingham, Alabama, 35203.
Okay, can you tell us something about this business?
It's next door to my current restaurant, which is called Boca. And it's a small operation, 2,200 square feet. And we're looking to put in a high-end restaurant and bar.
Okay. All right, Council Woods, you have questions? Williams, you have questions for this applicant?
No questions other than enjoy your current operation, Boca, and I'm looking forward
Thank
to
you.
your new operation.
Okay,
If it matters, I currently hold 2 licenses within Central City.
okay.
And we haven't had any incidences where we've had to call law enforcement in 12 years now.
All right, thanks. Thanks for that update. All right, Council Williams, you good?
Yeah, I have a motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that item passes, and we will send it to the full council for a vote.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next item is special event for the Major League Baseball, Rickwood Field. Is the applicant here?
Good afternoon. My name is Raymond Bell, address 11 North Water, Mobile, Alabama, 36602, here on behalf of Aramark.
Okay, and just go into some details about this special event for
Yes,
Rickwood.
ma'am. Major League Baseball is going around the country and playing games at different stadiums to celebrate African-American historical baseball. And they're going to be here from June the 18th through the 20th. It's going to be 3 days of events. The first day is going to be the Montgomery Biscuits playing the Birmingham Barons. And then the next day is a celebrity softball game, followed by the Major League Baseball game with the Cardinals and the San Francisco franchise team.
Okay.
And Aramark is operating the concessions, and this is an application to allow them to be able to serve during those events.
Okay. What type of safety, public safety mechanism and plan you guys have in place?
They have security, and then they're cooperating with the city regarding any type of police that they're going to need.
Okay. Council Williams, you have questions?
No, I think that not only the whole city and not just the state, but I think that the United States is excited for this game. So looking forward to y'all executing it very well.
Thank
I
you.
have a
Okay.
motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that motion passes. We send it
Thank
to
you.
the full council for a vote. The next item is number 3, Steel City Smooth Jazz Festival. Is the applicant here?
Yes, ma'am.
Come to the podium, please. State your name and address for the record.
Cedric Allen, 118 Huntington Place, Birmingham, 35242.
Okay, Mr. Allen, just enlighten us. I know you've been doing this event for quite a bit of years. Just enlighten us about the dates and of the event.
Yes, ma'am. Steel City Smooth Jazz Festival is in its 10th year, which we're very excited about having it at this particular time in our great city of Birmingham. And thank you for the support of the council and definitely the mayor's office. So this is going to be an historical year because we're adding Sunday to it. So we're bringing in the national gospel artists as well as Bonnie James and Norman Brown and Marion Meadows, but Yolanda Adams and Byron Cage and James Fortune. So it's an amazing a task that we've taken on. And our pledge has been from day one is to make sure we bring as many people into our great city, you know, so we can make sure that they're staying here for 2.5 days in our hotel room. So we want the economic boom to happen for our city.
Okay. Can you talk to me a little bit in this committee about your public safety plan that you have in place, the 3 days that this event will be transpiring?
Yes, ma'am. We do have VIP bodyguard services that we've used as our in-house security team, as well as Birmingham Police Department, as well as the Sheriff's Department will also be part of this great, opportunity. So I think we pretty much have locked it down once again, and they will have eyes in the sky as well, that they communicate. So our contingency plan will come from the inner group, and then they'll, cooperate with the City of Birmingham and Sheriff's Department.
Okay. You have questions, Councilor Williams?
No, but anytime that you guys can have the economic impact of 2.5 nights in a hotel room, I think we're here for it.
Yes,
So,
sir. Thank
I
you.
have a motion to approve.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Allen, that motion passes, and we'll send it to the full council for a vote.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, the next item is an ordinance resolutions, a master contract of public safety service surveillance equipment governmental with the Alabama Power Company, under which is an existing contract from public safety video surveillance services, and amendments thereto will be consolidated into a single contract, under which Alabama Power will provide certain public safety-related services to include the installation and maintenance of surveillance equipment for an estimated monthly charge of $89,900.95 for a term of 60 months. And I see Chief Mitchell before me.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee. As you know, that we have been working diligent on expanding our camera system in conjunction with Alabama Power. Currently, we are operating still in the pilot program, and this is our first chance invited to Apple to expand it to a couple different districts and citywide. So right now, the agreement that's before the council and before this committee is just basically showing our effort in our collaboration with Alabama Power to expand. Right now, they will currently take our current inventory and upgrade those current cameras that are in the pilot program. And then on top of that, install new cameras that will go into different districts that are considered hot spots by Birmingham Police Department. And then like the last phase is taking our current inventory of cameras that have not been installed, which is a number of 50, and installing those across the city also. So we're looking at expanding this camera program even further with the money that was approved today by Senator Britt to $4.1 million. So this is the first bite of the apple of taking care of our public safety sector as we try to make it more efficient.
Thank you, Chief Mitchell. Councilor Williams?
Just wanted to applaud you, Chief, and everybody else involved in trying to get this to the finish line, especially Senator Britt in getting us that additional funding that will go towards our futurely robust camera system that feeds into the real-time crime center. I think that after we had a weekend like we had this weekend, and with the ongoing issues we have with exhibition driving, that $4.2 million is a much-needed, not just gift, but essential item for the city of Birmingham. Thank you, Chief.
No, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Have a motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Chief, that motion passes. The next item is an ordinance to authorize the mayor to execute a corporate agreement for a term of not more than 8 months and ending on December 31st, 2024, between the Transportation Security Administration, known as TSA, and the City of Birmingham for its police department for participation by the Birmingham Police Department in the TSA National Explosives Detection K-9 Team Program, known as NDCTP. And I see that we have Chief Thurman before us.
Yes, ma'am. Scott Thurman, Service Chief of Police of the Birmingham Police Department. So we've had this agreement with TSA for a number of years. That's the K-9s that you see at the airport most commonly. The difference is the federal government has cut the funding, so there's no longer funding available for our officers and our K-9s. They are still providing the K-9s and the training for the K-9s. We'll provide the handlers, and we just need an agreement to move forward with that.
Okay. Council Williams, you have questions for Chief Thurman?
Welcome back to the council chambers, Chief. Thank you for everything that you do.
Yes, sir.
Looking forward to y'all continuing this program with your excellent team.
Yes, sir.
Motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Chief, that motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next item is the proposed adoption of technical code of the City of Birmingham 2024, adopting the 2021 International Building, Plumbing, Fuel, Gas, Mechanical, Fire, Existing Building, Energy, Conservation, and Residential Codes, the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code, and the NEC 2020 Electrical Code for NFPA 101-2021 Life Safety Code with local amendments. I see Attorney Bernard approaching. Can you come and tell the committee about this ordinance?
Julie Bernard, I serve as Assistant City Attorney in the Office of City Attorney. I submitted this item on behalf of several departments and divisions, PEP with the building permitting and inspections, the code enforcement section for the property maintenance code, and the fire department with the fire codes that are adopted. And this is just, standard. Every few years we adopt, new technical codes. The technical staff goes through them and makes all the technical changes. There are a number of things we've been discussing over the years, and we've gone back and forth, debated a few things. I can tell you a few things that we did within the administration portions, trying to improve some of our enforcement provisions. And one thing we added back in, it's in the standard codes, not only that you have criminal punishment for violation of all these technical codes, but all of the codes have a provision that say whoever the official, the building official, fire official, code official, can ask the council, our city attorney, for the jurisdiction to file appropriate cases, appropriate actions for civil enforcement. And we've put that back expressly into our local amendments so that it's clear that we can take some other actions other than just a municipal court action for enforcement. A few other things, there were a few legal references to the state code that were outdated. We've updated those. Added some things in because we are seeing people who do not tell the truth on their building permit applications, and adding some things to clarify. You've got to put the legal name of the owner on applications, and adding a reference to state law, which makes it a felony to intentionally, with an intent to defraud or mislead, that you file any record with a governmental official. And we're using that to consider because we see people who are undervaluing their building permit valuations. For one thing, the city misses out on building permit fees. A lot of times it seems that they are people who are unlicensed home builders. They've actually entered a contract for more than the amount, the $10,000 threshold that requires them to be a state licensed home builder. And we routinely get permit applications with values below $10,000. So we're trying to make some clarifications to help improve that. Again, I have Ricky Sanders from permitting here to speak on that, portion with PEP for any questions. We have Chief Mitchell and others from the fire department. If there are questions about the fire department, I didn't see if Larry Puckett is here with property maintenance, but if you have any other questions, they're available.
Thank you, Attorney Bernard. I do have a couple questions. One kind of going to unintended consequences. So however many years ago, we adapted a code that ended up requiring the Birmingham Water Works Board to have a metric where they looked at not only ensuring that a building had a backflow preventer, but then has caused the Birmingham Water Works Board to ask that a plumber come out and certify the efficacy of the backflow preventer every single year, which is a completely unnecessary burden on those of us that correctly put in a backflow preventer, which we're the only ones that have that enforcement against us. So in terms of unintended consequences, what I worry about is during the application phase, you know, if you are completely upfront, honest, and really fill out an application to just to an extreme, is that going to further cause pain for those that did it right the first way? And if you can hear the tone in my voice, because I personally feel strongly about this.
I understand, and, you know, I've had some conversations about that. I did research, you know, your particular question about the backflow preventer. That really flows from the Federal Clean Drinking Water Act. And there are provisions, and ADEM, it flows from federal EPA through ADEM, and Birmingham Water Works has to require those backflow preventers. I think it's required in, Ricky can probably help me, Mr. Sanders can help me with some of this. We didn't have anybody from the plumbing group, which I talked with. But generally within the technical codes, once equipment is installed on a building, it's the responsibility of the owner to maintain that. And the waterworks, I can't remember now if the annual inspection is in our code or in the waterworks policies. But if it's a policy that it has to be inspected with everything else, with other equipment that is installed on buildings, then it's the owner's responsibility to maintain. The city doesn't have the ability to do those inspections, but from what I saw, it's pretty common across the country to have those annual inspection requirements for those backflow preventers. So.
Yeah, I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, but I think the gist of my point is that it's those of us that said, okay, this is the code, so I'm going to make sure I have this. Now the enforcement is only on those that have actually gone out and purchased this, and not everyone else in the city of Birmingham that clearly does not have one.
I'm going to ask Mr. Sanders if he can address anything about that. Yeah.
I'm Ricky Sanders, and I serve as a senior plan examiner for the permitting division, but apparently what you're asking about is something under the plumbing code. Now, during plan review, these backflow preventers are required, and it is a requirement from the Birmingham Water Works that they are installed, and our inspectors do have to check and make sure they're in place before they can release water to be turned on a building. But specifically what you're asking about the inspections, it's a maintenance issue that the owner will have to make sure that it's working properly, because these things, you know, they get old, they can rust, they can fail. But somebody has to keep that up to prevent that water from flowing back into the main water service and contaminating. You know, you don't want bad water, even like sprinkler water. There's double check valves that's required. You don't want this water leaking back into the water systems and getting it contaminated with, you don't know what might be coming out of a building. So these are requirements. They're really beyond what we can do. We have to enforce those. So I'm not sure exactly, are you saying that the owner is having to pay somebody a yearly fee to check these?
Out of a specific list of plumbers.
Now that I do not know about. I
It's
don't know where
Birmingham
that's
Water
coming
Works
from.
policy that came from this code, which makes me nervous that
It comes from this code?
No, a similar code.
I mean, the backflow inspections that I don't think the city's giving a list of plumbers.
No, we
The
can't do
Waterworks
that.
has the list that you can choose from.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
you
we
have to
can't
do
do
it
that.
annually.
Yeah, we can't
Yeah.
recommend anyone for any kind of work, whether it's that, architects, engineers, that's unethical.
You said it, but, okay. That is my concern about this ordinance, is the unintended consequences for the business owners that try to do it the right way, or the property owners that have water sent to their house, like
And
me.
And I think I understood that was part of your question was about, you know, whether people are doing it the right way, and some people may be slipping through, you know, with not doing the right way. I think that was part of your question. I don't know if Mr. Sanders addressed that, but, you know, he said it is a requirement, it is part of the plans examination, is part of the inspection when they approve. the
Sure,
building.
and if you get the plans and you get them examined and get you guys to inspect it, then you're on the list that has to be inspected every single year by not by your team, but by the waterworks out
Yes,
of a
sir.
selected group of plumbers. And meanwhile, the majority of the city did not do the appropriate thing, and even, they just put in a sprinkler system or water service to their
Yes, sir.
house. They did not go get the city to come inspect it, I assure you. The majority of this city did not. So I do not want to have unintended consequences where we have business owners that are trying to do the best that they can do in being upfront with the city, and then them being hamstrung every single year for additional governmental red tape when they have to run their business, you know, already. And Birmingham, that is a concern of mine in a lot of different areas, and this kind of echoes that concern. I'm very nervous about this.
Yeah, well, there are people, we do find people who don't get permits. There are penalties for people who don't get permits, and we're adding in, you know, the provision to be able to take some civil enforcement, which would be injunctive, you know, or mandatory relief from the court, on people who have not done things the right way. So if we know that there are buildings that have installed things that did not get permits, then that can be investigated and actions can be taken against that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a question. So this International Property Maintenance Code also applies to existing structures, is that correct?
That's correct. There are multiple codes that are being adopted. Of course, Mr. Sanders deals with the permitting side of things, which are the building code, the residential code, the plumbing, the mechanical, and electrical, fire code. We are also this time adopting previously, I believe the existing building code was kind of an option. There is an existing building code that is being adopted, and Mr. Sanders can answer more questions about that than I can. We're also adopting the Energy Conservation Code. Those all fall under things of construction, new construction, and remodeling. The International Property Maintenance Code years ago replaced what we called our housing code that was within the General City Code. That is inspection for the maintenance of property. There's not permit, active building going on generally, but they're inspecting conditions. That includes a lot of exterior things as well as interior, making sure that the property is habitable, that there's doors, windows, screens, water service, just the basic things that would make a property habitable. It also includes some exteriors. There's some overlap with other city ordinances that we have because it includes weeds and it includes garbage service. And what we've done here is to make reference back to some general city code provisions instead of trying to repeat them over and have conflicts potentially down the road if changes get made one place or the other, to incorporate by reference in the weeds section on section 1188 of the General City Code, which is our charge for, and we also have included a reference because it says if somebody doesn't, after notice, they don't comply with the notice to cut the weeds, that, the city can enter the property. We've added a reference to in conform, or in compliance with the with our weed bill or other applicable weed law of the weed nuisance law of the state. So I've tried to make, starting to try to unify and dovetail, kind of again as part of our, what do we call it, coordinating code and enforcement, instead of having multiple silos, trying to unify some of it as we've worked to unify some of the operations. So that, anyway, but that's basically the property maintenance code. Those are the people who are going out and looking at the complaints
So
that you get.
recently, it was brought to the council's attention that there are some challenges with respect to code enforcement action when the property ownership resides outside of our jurisdiction. In particular, in enforcing summons to appear when there's a citation of a code violation. Is there any portion of the International Property Maintenance Code that enables, to give city authorization to utilize a process server, say out of state, or otherwise extradite individuals or entities to face prosecution for those violations?
I do not think there's anything specific in the International Property Maintenance Code. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but the OCA staff is working on those issues.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions, Councilor?
Yeah, just one more. When we're talking about landscape inspections, can you dive into specifically what we're referring to? Is that on new builds, or is that people that might have an existing house and they hire a landscaper to do work?
I don't know if I'm prepared to delve into that. And like I say, some of these are the technical aspects. There was recently adopted some new landscape requirements under the zoning ordinance that were adopted.
What about lofts, where we're requiring lofts now to be in compliance with the International Residential Code?
The what?
Lofts,
Lofts?
LOFTS, lofts.
Well, that's the, I guess that's what you're seeing is a new section dealing with the 420 there you're talking about. That's something, I guess Director Thomas and I understand administrative wanted just to be able to add in the code. I don't know if it's specifically lofts, but it's to help provide some more affordable housing. I hope that's the section that you're talking about.
Yeah, 429-.13, which is labeled lofts.
Yeah.
Is there going to be a expectation to retrofit those of us that have lofts downtown? If you have any, if you pull a permit, then would you have to bring it up to that code?
Yeah, it wouldn't be dealing with that. I need to find that section here for, this whole section's in red, isn't it?
Yeah, no, you're good. This is
this
Roman numeral
residential group?
2-4
Yeah.
page.
Residential Group RX, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, residential group RX.
Have you got a specific code section right here?
He's talking about, I think he's talking about this.
AQ 104.
RX sleeping unit.
429-13.
This is what I mean by unintended consequences.
I don't think that's talking about the kind of loss you're thinking about.
No, this would be within a unit if they want to put a loft in as like a bedroom, just a
Okay.
place to sleep. It probably want to make sure you have like a smoke detection, some safety issues in there. It's not like a loft apartment. So this whole section's dealing with the smaller homes that they're wanting to be able to allow to be built to help, have some affordable housing, which we all know that's been an issue. So this was added in and taken from, I don't know where the primary
I think,
city
well,
it was taken from, but
And then,
I think some of it is, it is dealing with, as Mr. Sanders said, affordable housing, but it's also accommodating some of the city's plans to try, like the pallet program and things where we're going to have group arrangements. That's what, it's a residential group RX. It's not talking about single-family loft apartments or loft condos. This is to help facilitate some of the things that the city is doing.
Okay.
So that's, and so I think the loft there is like, because you could have a house, you could have a bedroom with a loft
Okay.
sleeping
And then
space.
another thing that I thought was interesting is inspections are only to be made between 7:30 a.m. and 8:30 a.m.
Well, the calls for inspections is 7:30 to 8:30. That's when the inspectors are in office to receive calls. They set up their schedules, and then they go out and perform those the rest of the day. So do we have that worded
We're
correctly?
codifying that?
Sir?
We're codifying that?
I think that's all it's doing.
Okay.
Is that always the name?
Anyway,
Well, they were wanting to make it clear to the, because we get a lot of calls, and the public don't always know when they should be calling. But these people are, they're in the office that morning to take the calls personally. They set up their own schedule, so you can call and you get the actual inspector. If you need a plumbing inspector, you talk to them, you set up the time that you need. So it's just a direct communications, and that way they know when they're in office.
okay, and we're only going to limit to 2 permits if the building is not up to code from now on, from the council. So so is that's how I read the,
This is, that you're talking about the special permits, which we've talked, also called condemnation repair permits. That is, it's attempting to codify, that's up to the council. The council has had multiple policies over the years as to how many permits they allow. The current, and it's not codified anywhere. So this is, codifying what the council's procedure has been about dealing with it. If there's a change that needs to be made to that, then, speak now. But it's an attempt to have it somewhere, so codified.
okay. And just quick question, do we currently do landscape inspections today?
Yes, sir, well, the planning, that falls under the planning zoning division, and they have a particular person that looks at the plans for landscaping requirements, and they handle it different ways with the inspectors in the field, and sometimes the staff here from City Hall actually go to the site and inspect it to, they've had plans, they got it approved, they want to make sure it was installed the way it was approved here.
Okay.
So,
I'll end on this note. The one thing I really like about this is the requirements for a dumpster. That is something that has been a long problem in the city of Birmingham,
Yes,
where
sir.
we have had probably the exact group of people that don't go get a license anyway, do renovations and dump their trash all through my district and all through the rest of the city. Since they're unlicensed, they don't have a dumpster. They just dump it in an alley behind a resident's house, which is then Public Works has to go and clean it up.
Yes,
So I
sir.
do like that. I am nervous about a lot of the items in here, especially things like a landscape inspection after landscaping's installed. So I'm going to abstain from moving this forward, but I will let you do whatever you want to, Madam Chairwoman.
All righty. All right, we're going to send this to the full council for a vote.
Okay.
So I make a motion to send it to the full council for a vote.
Okay, and let me explain really quickly to the committee what that entails, because when we adopt these codes, because of course what you see here are just our local amendments. We've got books like the yay high, and then on top of that, they've got shelves of standards that are referred to in those books. So the state code requires that we hold a hearing, that the council hold a hearing. We have to have for at least 15 days before those books and these changes have to be available for public inspection. So the next step will be putting a resolution on the council agenda to set that hearing, say where those items will be available and all of that. And then it'll probably be, because 15 days, it'll probably be, a couple of 3 weeks before it's actually heard before the council. And then you can receive public comment on it.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. All right, next item is an ordinance to amend the general code of the city of Birmingham, Title 11, Chapter 6, Section 15, currently reserved to prohibit loitering, remaining, or wandering about in a public place for the purpose of participating as an organizer or spectator in any exhibition, driving, or street racing activity on the public highways of the city of Birmingham. Ms. Bernard, Attorney Bernard.
Yes. Again, Julie Bernard with the Office of City Attorney. This ordinance is a result of some discussions with some Birmingham police officers, specifically business compliance, and some issues about concerns about safety that are going on in the streets. The loitering laws are tied to some criminal activity being, attached to them. So this makes a specific provision for BPD to use on the streets with some of these events that are going on. Most of it is taken from existing state law. The street racing statute, which is under Title 32 of the state code, makes it unlawful to be an organizer or spectator at those events. The exhibition driving makes it unlawful to aid or abet those events. This just kind of combines it into a city ordinance. And, an organizer is anyone who promotes participation in, coordinates, facilitates, or collects money at any location for street race or exhibition driving, or purposefully causes the movement of traffic to slow or stop for any such race or exhibition driving, or otherwise aids or abets any such race or exhibition driving. And a spectator is any person who is knowingly present at and views the street race or exhibition driving as the result of an affirmative choice to attend or remain at the location of the street race or exhibition driving, or who otherwise aids or abets any such race or exhibition driving. And it is, somebody who's merely in the vicinity but is not an organizer or spectator is defined as not to be held in violation. So, and that's directly from the way the street racing statute is written.
Okay. Council Williams got a question?
No, I've long been said. So, motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that brings us to new business. You got new business, Council Williams?
Yeah, this is
Old business? New and old business. All right, so old business is Crew Lounge. It's a representative from Crew Lounge here. Come state your name, address for the record.
Good afternoon, Alan Bailey, 2300 First Avenue North.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. Okay, you are presented here today due to the number of issues and complaints that we have received in reference to Crew. And I'm going to turn to Detective Fikes. Has there been any incidents at this location?
In the month of April, we had seven calls of service, 2 disorderly, 1 traffic stop, 1 miscellaneous, 1 damaged property, 1 fire medical, 1 weapon call.
Okay, Ms. Brown, are they in good standing with taxes and revenue? Oh, Ms. Lawson, I'm sorry. Oh, Attorney Lawson. Are they in good standing with taxes and revenue?
Yes, they are.
Okay. All right. One question that I have for you, who's all involved in Crew? Like, what role does every person play in Crew?
Gotcha. So Crew Lounge is a franchise. Right now it has 22 locations. Dennis McKinley is the founder, so he oversees the whole franchise. And then with the state of Alabama, myself as well.
Can you speak into the mic?
Sorry, myself and other
Raise the
business.
mic up.
up towards you a little bit.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. Sorry. My apologies. So myself, as well as some additional partners, we oversee the state of Alabama for Crew Lounge. So any locations that come into the state of Alabama, we oversee that opportunity. Prior to me coming to this meeting, Crew Lounge has been in, I want to say, Birmingham for about 2.5 years. The previous location had got corporate involved based on compliance, honestly, from the Crew franchise standpoint. So meaning the integrity of the brand, the upkeep, and all of those different things. And hence, working with law enforcement, we've seen that some things were going on. So we came and took that location and has transformed it since. So we have a kitchen, full kitchen operating, but prior to they didn't have a kitchen. So those are some of the standards that we've added to Crew.
So what role do you play?
So I oversee I'm the CEO and principal executive for Crew Lounge, Alabama, and Mississippi.
And what role, who else is involved and what roles do everybody else play?
So you have Tyron Thurman, which is owner and operator for Huntsville Crew Lounge. El Malik, which is a business partner who's also here in the audience. And you have Darius Danner, which is also a partner and operator of the Crew Alabama.
Okay. Well, you got questions, Councilor Williams?
Yeah, I'm going to have a lot of questions. So my understanding is that Crew is not in your name in Alabama. Is that correct?
It is, correct. It is. It's in
It
my...
is in your name.
Torica Cornelius and my name.
So, okay, I guess our law department made a mistake on that, but or maybe not, so since you oversee Alabama and Mississippi, did you oversee Crew in Tuscaloosa?
Correct. I
Okay.
was a part of that.
And so that's the one where one of your employees shot and killed somebody, is that correct?
So not my employee. No, it was a third. It was a third party. We do a third party security. So it wasn't like we hire. So for Birmingham, Huntsville, every location, we hire a third party security company to actually protect and, like I said, protect our patrons. And that's the person who had the altercation.
Okay, so you hire a third-party security company in Tuscaloosa, and they shot and killed a patron, and you also hire a third-party security company here in Birmingham for your security. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so I know you know why you're here, right?
Right.
There is a concern that the establishment is causing a public safety nuisance to the businesses, residents, and visitors that are around your location in Birmingham, in essence, in one sentence. Do you feel that based on, and the one thing that I didn't hear was the shooting that happened the other week. Did I miss that? Okay, and I know that's under investigation, so we might not be speaking freely about it. But Sergeant, do you mind sharing that?
I'm Sergeant Knight, business compliance. There was a shooting, I believe, early April, in which I think an altercation occurred in your business and it filtered outside. As a result, I think someone was shot, non-life threatening, but the incident actually occurred in your business, from what I understand. I don't know if you know anything about the altercation that night, that what happened, because they were put out of the club. They were put out.
Right.
And I
So,
heard
yeah, that incident. So it was on a Sunday.
Right.
I had a PowerPoint pulled up for you guys, but I didn't know that we're not doing PowerPoints. But the incident that happened on that evening, it was not the altercation at all in our facility. Like we had zero altercations, like no fight, no argument. It was nothing at all. We actually closed at 1 o'clock. And the officer that responded to the call, it was 2:36, if I'm not mistaken, around that area. So we were already closed for an hour and 36 minutes, like completely to the public. Okay. So when the officer did come out, he actually made that known that, hey, we know that you're closed. Honestly, did you hear anything? We're honestly just looking for the shell casing because we heard that it took place within this perimeter of our lounge.
Okay, so, and thank you, Sergeant, for bringing up that shooting. So in your opinion, do you think that you guys are operating in a way that promotes safety to the residents, the businesses, and the visitors of Birmingham around your location?
So pardon me, say it one more time. Do I think?
In your opinion, do you think that y'all are operating in a way that promotes public safety for the residents, the businesses, and the visitors around your location?
Yes, sir. Honestly, I do. In sense of we're taking measures. And I think people in this audience, do I think we could do a better job? Absolutely. I would not sit here and say that we can't have some opportunity for growth. in Birmingham, as well as, since you mentioned Tuscaloosa and any other location. Safety is obviously top priority. This kind of showed just some of our importance yesterday. Me and my other operators and owners, we invited the city, the District 5 Neighborhood Association came to Crew yesterday. So we opened it up to them, hosted them. So from the front of my house to the back of it. So I don't know any of them are here, but a couple of them are here. We took them around, showed them how we operate, took them to the kitchen even to see where we did the cooking yesterday. I did a full presentation of a safety plan, showed them things that we were looking to put into place. And out of the meeting, I personally went upstairs to 2300, where we stay in the loft, and invited every resident, had a face-to-face conversation. Most of those residents came down as well yesterday for about 2 hours and had a conversation about feedback and their concerns. So I do think we're safe, but I also think we're doing the right measures to show our growth and opportunity, that we are not perfect, and we're willing to have conversation with the community and show, hey, what more could we do?
Okay, just on a hunch, I had our law department go ahead and look at who was on the paperwork for your organization, and it's in a name called Torique.
Torica.
Yeah, but that's not your name, sir, is it?
Yeah,
Is that
so I actually have, like I said, we purchased, so because it's a franchise, we have the right to come in and actually take over, like I said, the business. So we came and took over in the franchise agreement. By who I am on the franchise, I'm able to like I said, have another location. We do have updated paperwork that I could get to your office.
Okay, my office doesn't need it, but you're not on the paperwork for the city of Birmingham, which I just asked if you were on, and you said that you weren't. But anyway, we won't dive too deep into that. I just Googled your establishment, and from 5 days ago, let me read you the review. Wait, 1 star. Way too crowded. Last Saturday I went there. They locked the doors at 11 p.m. to prevent more people from entering. Unfortunately, it was so crowded that it posed a fire safety issue. People were packed so tightly that butts were touching other butts. Their words, not mine. Also, despite saying 21 and up, underage people bribed the doorman with $20 to overlook the age on their ID. The club allows minors to enter, drink, and smoke, a bunch of things. This place should be permanently closed to anyone going to go. I highly, in quotes, recommend Casanova. So that's the review you got. I don't know who this is. I Googled you from 5 days ago. And so I'm going to go back to my question again. Do you feel that your establishment is promoting public safety for the residents, for the business owners, and for the visitors of the city of Birmingham around you?
Yes, sir. Respectfully, I do think we still are safe. Just in your instance, just paying attention, the person stated that we gave 1 star. Obviously, I need to do a great job on my reviews, right? A better job. But they stated that
I'm not criticizing you on your review. I know my reviews on Google are probably all 1 star too.
I know what they said. We closed
you.
at 11:59. So just that alone, from just paying attention, they closed the doors at 11:59 because they were over capacity and that people were touching their words butt to butt. But it's kind of hard to say that if they're outside and we're closing. So I think that's kind of hard to even look at that viewpoint. And we closed, like I said, due to the safety. So I will say that with police on any occasion, we close, honestly, if we do get to overcapacity. And for the record, people don't know Crew, we are a lounge. So when I say lounge, we don't do where you just come in. We have a reservation base. So you could book a reservation to come to our establishment if you go online. So.
And the security company you hired is different from the one in Tuscaloosa?
Correct.
Are y'all going to say something? Okay. I'll let my colleagues.
So what's your plan, what's your measure if you have a whole bunch of people in Crew, which I've personally seen that, and they disperse? So what is your security instructor to do? How are they able to get them away from Crew?
Right, and so that's honestly what we've taken. Officer Dumas, who's the police officer that we work directly with on trying to honestly come up with plans and solutions to that. As of now, we have 6 security. We've upped our security part of our, like I said, safety plan for today. So with those 6, they're known to pretty much tell people to leave the premises, right? go to your vehicle. And once they're told to go to their vehicle, we've been instructed to make sure that, like I said, we honestly get law enforcement involved on trying to de-escalate that. We also have things that we put in place that's helped. So back to the reservation, the reason why, and I shared, like I said, with the neighborhood committee yesterday, if we have 10 to 12 o'clock reservation, saying 80 people in our building at one time, like I could pull it up on display, 12 o'clock reservations start, because I said we're a revolving business. So at 12 o'clock, I have 80 people that, like you stated, I have to push out, because I'm also have 80 people that are outside trying to come into the facility. So we're, like I said, revolving constantly. So to answer your question, is really trying to work with the law enforcement as well as security to tell people to leave, but that's kind of where we're in hands, honestly, where we can't really push them. You know, I can't tell them I'm
Yeah.
arrest you to
Okay.
my security at least.
So are you saying you guys are only reservation based? Like you can't go into the club?
Yeah, you could go in because we have bar seating, right? But we're highly reservation. So like I said, when you see a line, if any of you have seen there, which we have a line structure. One side is reservation, one side is walk-ups. When you have a predominant spot in downtown, if you have a reservation, those are the people that we're sitting first because they have reservations. If you don't have reservations, you're standing in a walk-up line, a general admission technically. And since we don't charge because of being a franchise, which hindsight we are also, that's in the safety plan, asking for approval for that to actually start being able to charge at this Birmingham location for the fact that we think it will actually deter some of the patrons that honestly aren't welcome in our location.
So how do you guys keep count of how many people are entering and exiting there?
Scanner. So I think the person mentioned about underage. Everybody that comes in our facility gets scanned. We have the scanner. I actually showed it to, once again, some of the residents and people that came to the neighborhood.
What are they scanning?
The ID. So
Okay.
once your ID is scanned, it keeps a count of it. So I'm able to see exactly how many people and who is inside of the facility.
Okay. So there was an incident, the infamous incident back in April where people left your establishment after Sunday brunch. And there were a bunch of people on the sidewalk, on top of cars. What did you all do?
I called the police, honestly. So I was there that actual day, and I called 911 and said, hey, we've let out. Can we get support? Can we get assistance? They responded to it, came out and tried, like I said, to dissolve it. Based on that Sunday instance, I think that's the nature, honestly, of this as well that's been brought to attention. We were only open 3 Sundays. So prior to that incident happening, September was the last time that we were open on a Sunday. And we typically have 40 to 30 guests on a given Sunday. So we honestly weren't prepared to house or think that many people were coming. So we constantly increased security every Sunday. And like I said, we just honestly wasn't prepared for that amount of people. We did have a solution connected with the neighborhood president through email. And the suggestion was like, hey, we close at 6 o'clock and we reopen for dinner at 8. So the window from 6 to 8 is when everybody was pushed out. And once again, we do close our doors when we get to capacity. So when you got a building of 80 people and 50 people pretty bothered that they can't come in, they're still outside trying to come in, and we close our doors at 6. We emptied our building, plus 50 people were already outside. So what we did the following Sunday, we didn't close. And result of that, we honestly got great feedback. I, once again, went upstairs, talked to the residents. By us not closing, we allowed the patron to leave on their own and not push everyone out at one time.
How many people can safely fit inside your building then?
I don't want to quote. I have to pull it, but I would like to say 92.
92? That's correct? Okay. I may think of something else, but I'm going to pass it to our president.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to give voice to the complaints that I've been hearing from Central City businesses and residents really from the beginning. It's been consistent, with some of the recent incidents. Those calls have become extremely energetic, and we were also, just on behalf of the Birmingham Police Department, I don't think we should be in a position to be having to be preemptive, on any given weekend to, try and do crowd control for any particular business. That's obviously not a service that, you're compensating the police department for. But we have, our police department has, and Mayor Woodfin in particular, has felt has been necessary in order to just try to control the environment around Crew Lounge. And it's not just residents, it's also impacting the adjacent businesses who are trying to operate. And I'm glad to hear that you're in conversation with residents. I haven't had the opportunity to engage with them yet to see, how the conversation went last night. So I look forward to hearing from them. But prior to having that conversation, I can't overstate how fed up people are. Quite frankly, the majority, almost exclusively, all of the people that I have heard from want Crew closed. They consider it a public nuisance, and that's, this isn't a public hearing, so the people, sitting behind you, most of them are Central City residents. And, so on their behalf, I know you've, again, had a conversation with them, some of them. I want you to know that, folks are really tired, and something has to change.
Madam Chair, have you met with the neighborhood yet? Like, have you gone to their neighborhood meeting, Central City?
Yeah, I actually went to the Central City meeting last month, and then addressed or state my presence of who I was, because I wanted to make sure that people felt comfortable and open. So I went to the last Central City neighborhood meeting, didn't speak, just kind of listened to, honestly, the concerns, because once again, I think if I stated who I was, some of the comments that were shared or spoken probably would not have been shared or spoken transparently. So I stayed, listened, and then I'm actually speaking at the Tuesday meeting at the library. Next Tuesday. It's next Tuesday. So I've already met with the president, shared that, hey, I have a safety plan. I would like to address it, as well as providing food for the meeting as well. Because once again, I think a lot of people have no idea about what Crew, other than what they possibly see in media. And all feedback is, like I said, welcome. We want to do better, but at least I would love to have the opportunity, right, to show our business model, show who we are. Because once I personally sat in outside of a business owner of Crew, just as a human being, I felt honestly attacked as if I wasn't a person behind the name of Crew. So yes, to answer your question, yes, I have attended a meeting, and then I am attending the next meeting and plan to speak and address any concerns, and to address some of the concerns that were mentioned at the previous meeting, such as they litter our trash. We passed a company to come pick up trash. I heard that trash is outside. I have ordered 2 trash cans for the public, but we paid for the bill for it. Heard that people needed, I guess, trash dump. Crew pays for the 2 dumpsters that are behind 2300 for the residents as well as our business. I think another concern was about security. I have a security plan and PowerPoint that I'm put together for them yesterday that I'm also presenting at the next Tuesday meeting. Concern was Sunday, we closed this this previous Sunday on Mother's Day, and we had a total of 48 reservations. So I think a lot of you guys have spoken here about businesses at the end of the day want to operate business. We close in suit of respect, honestly, for the city, our patrons, as well as the respect of our neighbors, honestly. 48 reservations, we completely closed our business in suit of, hey, it is an issue. Let's make sure that we address the issue and not just try to operate and run whatever we do until we successfully have a plan in place. We've also are adding live music to honestly try to change the crowd control per se, are the people that are in hindsight interested, right, to come into our establishment. So we're doing live music on Sunday because that's the day that the video and the things happen. So our goal is to try to do everything on our power to operate a successful and great business. But prior to me coming to this meeting, I haven't honestly heard, and I'm not sure, I'm not in this, I haven't heard though what else I could do other than getting faced with media and faced with people telling me. Yesterday was the first time where somebody gave me the opportunity, or gave us opportunity to even understand who we are and what the business model is. So, yes, I am planning to speak on the behalf of.
And then last thing, what do you all do for line control? Because I've seen your line personally. It's pretty out of control.
Right. So, like I mentioned, so we have barricades, and as of right now.
Where are the barricades? Because the barricades are only in front of the door. They're not.
Right.
Really
We don't extend it all the way from a safety reason. Because if I barricade all the way down, if a fire or something breaks out, now I've encaged people inside the facility. The lines, though, once again, we do have, like I said, control of reservations on one side, walk-ups on one. It does get excessively long, but they're just in line, though. It's just a really long line. We got suggestions that we potentially could wrap it instead of having it right there on First, because right now we have everybody on First, right? Mm-hmm. We're thinking about doing the side of 23rd, so reservations on one side, completely opposite side of the building, and then walk-ups on the other side to see if that could potentially help with spacing out the crowd control on the outside.
And do you guys have metal detectors?
At the actual facility, like we have ones, we don't have any standing metal detectors.
Okay. All right.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mr. Bailey, to be clear and for the record, have this business establishment been properly transferred from Ms. Terica Cornelius? Has it been properly transferred? Have you come to tax and license to properly transfer this business?
I have my seat because I don't want to be to my understanding, yes, everything has been properly transferred, documents are done, but I will have to get with my CPA and person that does it. No, okay.
Okay.
So no. So
we're gonna refer to Attorney Lawson for that question,
Okay.
that answer to that question.
Madam Chair, there are some remaining documents that we have discussed with Mr. Bailey that they have not completed, so it has not been completely transferred into Mr. Bailey's name. And we've discussed those documents with him.
Okay, and so the safety plan that you was discussing here, what I have before me is when you guys first presented to the council in 2021. So the safety plan is what we have from 2021. So the plan that you were speaking of is, we need an updated safety plan from you.
yes, ma'am, I have it. I could email it or get it to the respective party.
Okay, and I'm gonna allow, is any member from the public here, this is not a public hearing, but we are gonna allow, okay, I'm sorry, Sergeant Knight.
I just wanted to mention some of the things that Mr. Bailey mentioned about improving on security. On the 28th, we worked a detail in front of your establishment, me and myself, Detective Fikes, Langford, and probably about 12 officers. We had vehicles, the full gambit in front of your business. And we come in and we met with you and Mr. Chin, and we discussed things that, let us help you guys. We discussed some things about improving safety. And And when we got there, it was automatically safety plan. It was no safety I could see. It was people everywhere. It was cars parked illegally. It was people smoking and everything. All this going on in our presence. So we met with you in the back, and we come outside, and we actually worked that intersection probably for about 3 or 4 hours. That was on the city. We worked your business for about 4 hours on our off day. We came in, and we made several arrests for guns, drugs, and a lot of other things that we saw. As people walked up, they act like we weren't there. I mean, we were literally just stopping guys walking by us rolling marijuana joints. You know, that's how bad your crowd is. I know everybody wants to, you know, we spoke, and I like, you know, you got a good idea, but you're going to have to control your patrons. I don't think the citizens has heard that. I talked to some of them live over, and they say it's outside. That's your responsibility. You cannot have a business and let people just loiter outside your business to do whatever you want to do. And calling the police once you let 200 people, that's not good enough. You know, so what I suggest is that your safety plan is going to have to be thorough. It's going to have to be included. I think I didn't see any ones that day. I saw male and female patting people down. The line was not controlled that day. There was no railing. We mentioned that to you about controlling your people outside. We mentioned that to you, but your security is very inadequate. And I think that's the main thing that you have. And I suggest you give cover charge. To me, no cover charge, and you know anybody comes in there. You know the kind of crowd you get with no cover charge. Right. And I kind of saw some things you can improve on. Inside was okay, but you had one Birmingham police officer working there, and and he was by himself, and I didn't like that, okay? Because we didn't see him in there until I just saw him sitting in the corner. It's dark in that club. So, you got a lot of improvements you got to do. And I think that area where you sit at, it's going to take you to really, really dial in and get your security plan. It's going to really have to be thorough because you got residents right there. They understand noise from inside the business, but it's your crowd outside. You have to control that. It was 15 of us out there. We made 4 arrests. Right there, and it came right to us. They just walked up to us, And so it was just a lot going on that day. And we discussed this earlier, and we want to do all we can to help you stay open. But your safety has got to be first, most important around there, because at the same day we worked that event at that detail at your business, there were 2 other businesses they had several people there. Not one time did we have to say anything to their crowd because they were decent and orderly. Everything was focused on you. Which I think that, you owe the city of Birmingham thanks for that day, because had we not been there and the kind of people that was walking up and things they were doing, we might have had another shooting out there. Maybe somebody would have got killed.
Right. Make it very known. I thank you all. I really do appreciate it. Anytime we have officers, like I said, we've added, since our conversation, we have added 2 additional police officers. Once we open, like we've been closed for that Sunday, but we have added 2 additional police officers as well.
Okay, to add to that, when we talked amongst ourselves, we are the business compliance unit. We spoke to you all, and we had a very great conversation with you all. I think you all are trying to do what need to be done, and like Sergeant Knight explained, it's your crowd. So I don't know what crew policy is. I think your age group needs to change, okay? And not suggesting that anybody do not, conduct themselves, but you all let them in from 19 to 25, correct?
21.
21 and up?
21 and up.
Okay. Well, it's several 19-year-olds came up there, and from there, you had one of your partners who was there who was turning them around. So we observed that, and with that, we look at if they come up there, then from there, they're known to be getting in there. So from there, that's what we looked at. Your model with crew, as far as the reservations, I don't see that working here. None at all. And I know that's the crew model, but to put 50 to 75 people outside, waiting for 50 to 75 people to come out, then that's where we have the issues at. Because if that's 50 outside waiting for a reservation, then there's another 50 waiting to go in on a walk-up. Then that's 100 people outside. And then that's where we have the issues at.
All right, yes, sir.
Yeah, so for there, I think that's one of the things that I don't know if you can change that, because that's y'all franchise. That's how it's set up. But that is the problem that we saw there, because that put all those people outside. And your extensions, well, we suggested that it goes down 23rd Street instead of straight down First, because it's running to other businesses through their front door, and that would be a problem. So everything need to come down 23rd Street, because that's more of a better, I guess, situation for crew. Your safety plan, you can show it to the public, but your safety plan comes through us.
Right.
Yeah. So you have to approve, we have to approve your safety plan before you show it to them. So we need to see it, and that's what Madam Chair was telling you. We need to see your safety plan. That's when she pulled your old safety plan. So if you have something new, and there's suggestions that Sergeant Knight and Detective Fikes made to you, we need to have those implemented ASAP. And y'all free, that's the problem. Everybody comes there because they know they don't have to pay no cover charge or do anything. They just come outside the crew and go to crew, and you don't have to pay nothing. That's a problem. And the other issue you have is not even the ones who want to go inside, but the ones who stands across the street, down the street, around the street, and just hang out. Now, as Sergeant Knight was telling you, that is a part of crew, okay? Because those people coming to, I guess, hang out at crew because y'all free. So they know they can do that. Sooner or later, they'll go in. So it's just some things that has to change, that's all.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but I think you guys are some good guys. I see Chin in the back, so from there, we'll work with y'all. We have talked to you all. Okay, you know me, I have a, 3-step policy. I'm gonna ask you, tell you, and then I'm gonna make you. So that's where we at now. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. We have heard, from several counselors, myself, Sergeant Knight, Detective Langford, Detective Fikes, and, we've seen things, and as Councilor Woods stated, your business is truly a public safety nuisance. The things that we have saw from people exhibition driving, I'm hearing no type of crowd control, you're free, reservations. It's like Detective Langford said, it just doesn't work for Birmingham. Because a person that runs a business has to be, number one, respectful. Even though we know it's a mixed-use development, but where's the respect to those that live there? I haven't seen you guys demonstrate that. People hanging out, people all on corners, again, exhibition driving. It was just what we saw and what I saw, obstructing traffic where people couldn't even get through. First Avenue is a state highway, a state corridor where people need to be passing at all times. And so people in business to make money, but you cannot be in business to affect people's lives, their family lives. I know people live downtown. I know people have families, they have kids, they live downtown. But, what we're seeing and what we're witnessing is just, a serious public safety nuisance. Even seeing a young lady hanging out the car while the car was just spinning around. God forbid if she had flew out the car. It's unacceptable behavior. And so you guys are all over the place. I don't know if you live in Birmingham, your partners live in Atlanta, where y'all live, but y'all are not here when people are blowing up our emails. We're seeing the things that we're seeing. That is not right to people who are tax-paying citizens, who live downtown, who love to live downtown. And they're not trying to say businesses shouldn't be down there, but it's all about respecting, because if you live down there, you won't want nobody doing that if you live down there.
Yes, ma'am. So I
And
will
so
say
I'm
we
gonna
do
ask
stay.
you,
We stay
excuse
down.
me,
Oh,
I'm gonna
sorry.
ask you for your updated public safety plan.
Okay.
Because what I have is a 2021 plan, and it shouldn't have gotten to this level to take you to this level for you to provide us. You should have been following this plan you had in place. And you clearly have demonstrated that you have not been doing that. So, I am going to turn this back over to my colleague, Mr. Williams, and we'll make a decision.
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. After hearing everything I heard today, I'm not that interested in an improved safety plan. You yourself said that you've been operating over 2 years. I'm not interested in seeing what improvements can be made when we've already gone way too far down the road of jeopardizing public safety for those that live, own businesses, or visit your area. I'd like to make a motion that we send this to the full council for revocation of Crew's business license.
Okay, Councilor Williams, I'm going to allow someone from the community, just one community member to speak, and then we'll move forward. So, one community representative from the community, if you could, I'm sorry. Oh, I second the motion.
And I'm just, while this is not a public hearing, the full council will be a public hearing. So I've seen lots of shaking of heads. So the full council meeting will be a public hearing to everyone that might have a sore neck from shaking their head.
And let the record reflect that I second Council Wood's, I'm Williams, I don't know why I want to call Council Williams Council Wood. Council Williams' motion, and all in favor? Aye. Aye, that motion passes. So I'm going to allow you to speak. State your name and address for the record, please.
Hunter Renfro, 2314 First Avenue North. I live on the same block as Crew, just right next to Casanovas. I have lived there since the end of 2018, and honestly, you know, there's 3 bars on that block. There's Paper Doll and Crew and Casanovas, and at the time that I moved in, it was a pretty chill block. I don't think I need to reiterate all the things that we've heard about and stuff that you guys have apparently seen. What I'd like to say is that what I heard today is an example of a business who didn't care until they're being forced to care. That they have had plenty of the evidence that this has been a problem for a very long time, and what I've heard from the police officers is they've talked to them and they haven't done anything about it, and things just continue to escalate. So I want to kind of pose a question. I guess this is a rhetorical question, unless somebody wants to answer it. Yesterday, I was at a council meeting, and I heard the mayor make a really strong point about gun violence. He said that the federal government won't regulate guns, our state won't regulate guns, we have our hands tied, we've got gun violence in Birmingham, we need to do something about it. So he proposed we do a better job of regulating spaces. I think I'm quoting him correctly. As council members, I think it's y'all's job to ensure the safety of the public, and I know that's really important to you guys. Clearly, the mayor cares a lot about the safety of the public. I would like to see our city put their money where their mouth is and create a no-tolerance policy for gun violence in establishments. This is one that's had at least one, I think they've had 2 incidences of gunshots from what I understand. And I know just last week, or the previous Sunday, we had police in altercations with people on the street and several arrests. So if there's gun violence in an establishment that doesn't have metal detectors and clearly isn't doing a job of keeping guns out of their place, I would say we need to send a strong message. So that's what I would ask the council members to do is, would you guys send a strong message about gun violence and your response to this issue?
I think some of the facts that you've stated here are incorrect, probably because you don't fully understand them around violence, gun violence specifically in establishments. Now, however, we do have a motion and a proper second, so I think that at this time we should probably adjourn this meeting. I have a motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you.